大家以一颗虔诚的心礼敬长老。一礼敬，二礼敬，三礼敬。
มะยังพันเตติสารเนนะสหะอัฏฐปัญจศีลานิยาจามะตุติยัมปิมะยังพันเตติสารเนนะสหะอัฏฐปัญจศีลานิยาจามะตติยัมปิมะยังพันเตติสารเนนะสหะอัฏฐปัญจศีลานิยาจามะ
นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะ
นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะ
พุทธังสรณังคัจฉามิ
พุทธังสรณังกัจฉามิ
ธัมมังสรณังคัจฉามิ
ธัมมังสรณังกัจฉามิ
สังฆังสรณังคัจฉามิ
สังฆังสรณังกัจฉามิ
ทุติยัมปิพุทธังสรณังคัจฉามิ
ทุติยัมปิพุทธังสรณังกัจฉามิ
ทุติยัมปิธัมมังสรณังคัจฉามิ
ทุติยัมปิธัมมังสรณังกัจฉามิ
ทุติยัมปิสังฆังสรณังคัจฉามิ
ทุติยัมปิสังฆังสรณังกัจฉามิ
ตติยัมปิพุทธังสรณังคัจฉามิ
ตติยัมปิพุทธังสรณังกัจฉามิ
ตติยัมปิธัมมังสรณังคัจฉามิ
ตติยัมปิธัมมังสรณังกัจฉามิ
ตติยัมปิสังฆังสรณังคัจฉามิ
ตติยัมปิสังฆังสรณังกัจฉามิ
ติสรณะคัมมนังนิทิตัง
ธัมมะพันเต
ปานาติปาตาเวระมณีสิกขาปะทังสมมาธิยามิ
ปานาติปาตาเวระมณีสิกขาปะทังสมมาธิยามิ
อาทินนาทานาเวระมณีสิกขาปะทังสมมาธิยามิ
อาดินนาดานาเวระมณีสิกขาปะทังสมมาธิยามิ
Is it 5 precepts or 8 precepts?
8 precepts first, then 5 precepts.
Okay. So, อาพรหมจาริยาเวระมณีสิกขาปะทังสมมาธิยามิ
อาพรหมจาริยาเวระมณีสิกขาปะทังสมมาธิยามิ
มุสาวาทาเวระมณีสิกขาปะทังสมมาธิยามิ
มุสาวาทาเวระมณีสิกขาปะทังสมมาธิยามิ
สุราเมรยมัชฌะปมาทัฏฐานาเวระมณีสิกขาปะทังสมมาธิยามิ
สุราเมรยมัจจปมาทัฏฐานาเวระมณีสิกขาปะทังสมมาธิยามิ
วิกาลโภชนาเวระมณีสิกขาปะทังสมมาธิยามิ
วิกาลโภชนาเว
เว
เว
ร
ร
ม
ม
ณี
ณี
สิ
สิ
ก
ก
ขา
ขา
ปะ
ปะ
ทั
ทั
ง
ง
ส
ส
มา
มา
ธิ
ธิ
ยาย
า
มิ
มิ
นัจจคีตวาทิตวิสุกัทธัสสนามาราคันทวิเลปนะภารณะวันดนะวิภูสนัฐานา เวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ
นาจากิตาวาดิตาวิสุกัดดัสสนา มาลากันทังวิเลปนะภารณะมันดนะวิภูสนัฐานา เว
เว
ร
ร
ม
ม
ณี
ณี
สิ
สิ
ก
ก
ขา
ขา
ปะ
ปะ
ทั
ทั
ง
ง
ส
ส
มา
มา
ธิ
ธิ
ยาย
า
มิ
มิ
อุจจาสยนะมหาสยนา เวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ
โอ
โอ
จา
จา
ส
ส
ย
ย
นะ
นะ
ม
ม
หา
หา
ส
ส
ย
ย
นา
นา
เว
เว
ร
ร
ม
ม
ณี
ณี
สิ
สิ
ก
ก
ขา
ขา
ปะ
ปะ
ทั
ทั
ง
ง
ส
ส
มา
มา
ธิ
ธิ
ยาย
า
มิ
มิ
อิมานิทะสิกขาปทานิสีเลนะสุขติงยันติสีเลนะโภคสัมปทาสีเลนะนิพพุติงยันติตัสมาสีลังวิโสทะเย
สาธุ สาธุ สาธุ
ขอการ Do you have anything after this? Sorry, because we didn't expect that we have to give a precept. I was told that you're gonna kind of chant by yourself.
I'm sorry, Ajahn. Yeah, we also can we seek for requesting this clause?
Yeah, sure, yeah, sure.
Thank you, Ajahn.
บรหมาจาโลกาทิปักติสหังปักติกักตันจารีอันทิกวักรังอายาจักทักสันติทักษากตาปักรักจากขักจักติกาเทเสทุทังมังอนุกังปิมังปักจัง
ขอการครับนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะพุทธังธัมมังสังฆังนะมัสสามิ Good morning, everyone. I guess I can't see you guys, so I don't know how many of you are there. And we are in Mae Hong Son Vanaram, we just arrived yesterday with 3 of us. And we got invited to give a talk today, early in the morning. Actually, here now the other monks having a meal, but we are giving a we came to basically sit here and talking to all of you before, and then after that we have to meet later. So just to let you know that we just arrived yesterday, so kind of very new to this kind of thing, so not used to, so apologize and for not quite sure what we are doing. And so I guess you guys in Singapore, because I can see one of the picture of the Buddha Rupa in the center. I think I've been there once or twice, and but these two venerables, is quite very first time, also to live stream as well, and we never used to do this, so kind of a bit excited and also nervous again. So today we probably giving a kind of short words or few words from our kind of views and kind of experience that we have been in Buddhism or Buddhist practice, especially in Luang Cha traditions that we are kind of been around for a few years because we also still young monks, and also our first time that we left the monastery and kind of exploring, kind of going around, wandering, and see different places and looking for a place where we can kind of extend our practice in a different place, like some in the jungle, in the forest, in a cave, and also here as well. So me myself actually spent time here with Ajahn Chakino about 2 years before 2 Pansa here, and now I'm 7 Pansa, like 7 years as a monk, and enjoy Luang Cha traditions about 5 years ago when I happened to meet Ajahn Chakino. So kind of my turning point, came here and then spend time here, practice here, and then go to Ubon, Wat Nong Papong, also end up joining and staying kind of long term in Wat Phra Metiko next to Wat Nong Papong. If you guys have been there before, so you probably recognize Wat Phra Metiko and Wat Nong Papong. Not very different, very similar in terms of nature, in terms of we call what like the practice and the rules and everything. But Wat Nong Papong is more into kind of Thai style, like Thai monks, few Western monks around. But in Wat Phra Metiko we have mostly Western monks, foreign monks coming from different places around the world, different countries, different nationalities, more than 18 or 19 or sometimes 20. Depends on how many monks at the moment. Yeah, so and now I would introduce two venerables next to me, so the venerables can say some words or few words about themselves and how they come to Buddhism or come to practice in Luang Cha tradition, and what is the point, or what is the kind of interesting point or perception that bring them here, or invite them to stay in Rome for this long, and then they can, and later on we can talk more about experience around our practice or in being around for a few years as a monk in different places, and maybe end up with Q&A or open questions, anything about ourselves or what we told, what we're going to tell you about our life living as a monk in Thailand or in Wat Phra Metiko or in Luang Cha tradition. So let me start with myself. I already told a bit of myself already, that my name actually in Thai we usually call monk in the usual name, like formal name, like nickname or sometimes full name, depends. So my name as a Thai monk, we usually they call me T or Tan T or Prat T. So T is my name, quite simple, like T. like a cup of tea, whatever you like to think of, tea. But in Wat Pa Nanachat, we usually use our Pali name, like the ordination name. And my Pali name is Sabba Jayanto. It's like Sabba is like all, like the or like the whole, something like that, or like Sabba something, like Sabba Satta or something like that, like all beings. So Sabba is all, and Jayanto is like victory. So it's like all victory. So this is my Pali name. So in Nanachat, we usually use Pali name calling each other. And I ordained for 7 years now, since 2013. Get a bit confused with Thai years because we use differently from the West. And I first of all ordained in kind of city monks, not the traditions, like a city monks, like basically ordained in the city somewhere in the north, like in Chiang Mai, without much knowledge about forest monk and or forest traditions, but kind of got faith in practice and in meditation, and also like basically like personal preference. Like I kind of like the north of Thailand, so when I decided to ordain, I was thinking of going up to the north and then look for a place where I can end up stay and then practice and ordain. First of all, before I came to ordain, I was spent about 6 years overseas in Australia, studying as a student, and that was why there was my kind of time when I start to find meditation and Buddhism interesting, and then got into meditation over there. Kind of not an easy thing to say why I started to meditate later or overseas, not in Thailand, because I was born in Thailand and then grown up in Thailand until 16, 17, and then flew over to Australia that time. Didn't know much about meditation. Did not know much about. Basically, didn't study or didn't find it interesting or anything yet. Until I was in Australia for a couple of years and started to basically start to think about living and life and meanings, and like kind of probably common pattern for people who work in a lay life or study or kind of living their life like a normal kind of lay people. At some point you start to think about something around you happening, rising, falling, die or sick or things like that. So it started from feeling something unstable. Basically, like the feeling is unstable. Everything seems to be going kind of like in a way of uncontrollable, something like changing, and then bit by bit kind of gradually started to feel towards myself and thinking, well, I mean, if the condition outside is like this, then myself, like my body, my mind, what I think is my body, what I think is my mind, what I think is myself, is probably under the same condition. So what can I do? What should I do? Then come to a point where I started to find the answer of this, but I couldn't because of my I would say my poor knowledge of this, my misunderstanding, my misperception about life, about feelings, about the true knowledge, the basically like in Pali or in Buddhist words we call avijja or delusion, like delusion of our own mind or avijja, that we don't understand things correctly or don't understand things as the way they are. So that's kind of feeling kind of arose in myself, and then feeling, what can I do, where should I go, and what am I supposed to do to this life. And fortunately, the place where I stay close enough to the Thai forest monastery. It's kind of like a house next to like normal kind of local village where I spend time. So I happened to go there, and then asking the monk, what do you do there normally? And they said, oh, we do chanting, we do meditation every day, 1 hour, something like that. Then I started there, just kind of really simple, like nothing, no guidance, no monks who give a Dhammatesana or giving a instruction how to do meditation properly. So simply just sit, close my eye, turn off the light, and like 1 hour straight, they ring the bell afterward, and then that's it. That's one session. So my feeling first meditation was quite, I would say, quite awful. So I kept thinking about heaps of things, like thousands of stories, memories, and future plans and everything, and realize again that most of the thinking that happened to me wasn't quite wholesome. Basically, like I would say, unwholesome minds and thinking and so. But that time I couldn't do anything. Basically, I didn't know how to handle this, how to fix it, or how to properly or basically understand this, and also feel kind of afraid to ask the monk, like, what do you do with meditation? What's the purpose of doing meditation or meditating? So somehow feel like I don't want to bother the monk there. But again, that they probably something that kept me a bit like thinking that, oh, I'll still kind of kept doing meditation like that every day, come to the monastery, chanting with them, and then meditate like that 1 hour. The same feeling every day going on. So nothing really special, nothing really changed. Quite a lot, quite some time. I think it's about like a month that I was kind of doing that with the monk. And some point in that period, I started to ask one monk there, like, what do you do with meditation? How do you meditate? Like, they said, just putto, basically, like, didn't give any further information, just putto. You just sit with your putto, and then I said, okay, we'll try. so that's the first, I would say, object or skillful means that I had from the monk there. So just sit, closing your eye and putto. So that was very first time that I started my meditation with. Yeah, so that's kind of roughly. So I won't go too much into detail because it's gonna go long, and then two one will probably end up not having a time for themselves saying anything. And then that's the point where I started, and then faith started to arise, and then way of seeing things, like my perception of seeing things started to change, and understanding things that going and passing around, and looking out to way of basically leading my life into different direction. Start to think about ordination, start to think about Thailand, going back home, and for basically for being a monk, or for becoming a monk. So some point, 2-3 months later, I decided to basically return to Thailand and looking for a place to become a monk. But still, I didn't have much information about Luang Por Chah. To be honest, that time I didn't know Luang Por Chah. It's really unfortunate for Thai people, if I have to say. Doesn't mean like Thai people are knowing all the Kuba Ajahns or the very well practiced monks. You know, it's like once they don't really they don't yet interested in they're not yet interested in practice or in Buddhism. Really like deeply into kind of I would say, especially in the right views or in the right right time or in the right place as well. So they won't hear or they won't know. I would say they mostly ignore it. They didn't see or didn't know like how well practiced is this Kuba Ajahn, this monk or this Luang Por next to their home or in the nearby monastery. So I would say most of people don't really know, and I'm probably one of them. So I didn't know Luang Por Chah at that time, so I came back to Thailand, going around looking for a place, and I chose the north because I like it personally, like I like it in person. And came up to the north into Chiang Mai, and then end up staying someplace quite some time, and feel like I could have stayed here, like make it. It seems like kind of easy for me to become a monk there, and end up ordained. I'm thinking I wanted to go into the cave or to the forest to look for a quiet place, secluded, and then meditate and basically practice on my own kind of thing. So I started to read books, Dhamma books from different Kubacha, different teachers, and that's when I start to see Luang Por Chah or follow Luang Por Chah teaching. And then I already felt like I would say I started to feel like, oh, this is actually what I'm looking for. So and then I had in my mind, at the back of my mind, that I wanted to go live with this environment, this sangha in Luang Por Chah tradition. But still, I couldn't think of how I'm gonna go there. You know, still feel afraid that how they're gonna think about me because I ordained in different place and walk into a probably different way of practice, different standards of vinaya or disciplines and things like that. So I was thinking if I happen to see or to find any Kuba Ajahn or a place where it's related to Luang Por Chah or even like something about Luang Por Chah that I could join, I would do that and then basically like dedicate myself to it and follow the practice, something like that. So some point I knew someone who actually one of the committee here, like in Ajahn Chakino place. So invited me to come over to basically to stay, basically to see or to visit basically. So I didn't know before. I never heard of Ajahn Chakino, never heard of his place. I just know that person. So they took me here and end up like met Ajahn Chakino, and then he said that he's from Wat Paranasha, he ordained there. He's from Luang Por Chah traditions. It's kind of, to me, that point is kind of a dream came into a real kind of or possibility or real kind of life in some way that I could join. Maybe I was thinking, oh, I could join Luang Por Chah from here, and then Ajahn Chakino also open to this thing and kind of really welcome and say, okay, you can come and stay with me, and then we can go to Luang Por Chah together to Ubon, because he often go to the Ngan, like go to the Luang Por Chah, we have Luang Por Chah kind of events like Luang Por Chah, like we call Ngan, like an event, like a practice, like a together remember of his passing away on this 16th of January every year. So I got to go and then kind of get used to and eventually end up going spend Pansa in Ubon and then in Wat Padanachat since then. So it's already been 3 years in Wat Padanachat, and then some time around other kind of branches of Wat Nongpapong, the Buddhist tradition. So that's how I became like what I am now from the beginning. So this is like as brief as I can go about myself. So that first of all, my kind of life story in a very brief. So then maybe I'll ask whatever next to me to kind of say a few things. It's already taken lots of time. Keep going.
Okay. So, yeah, like Tangento said, this is the first time for, at least for me, to use the live streaming like this. And also, like he also said, we're still junior monks and came from Wat Padanachat, and the environment there, normally the junior monks are doing many things, but they're not giving talks and things like that. So I'm also not familiar really with giving a Dhamma talk or talking to a group of people. I also can't see who's actually listening or how many people there are, but I was told people in Singapore or Malaysia. So I'll also basically just introduce myself and tell something similar, how I came to Buddhism and how I came to ordain, also in brief. First of all, my name is Suthamo. This is the name we use in the monastery in Wat Padanachat because we use the Pali name that we get when we ordain. It means good Dhamma, Suthamo. My original name is Boyd, but many of the monks I live with don't even know that name. They came later after I had ordained. So yeah, mostly using Suthamo. I've been a monk now for 5 years, and then I came to Thailand for the first time almost 8 years ago, 7.5 years ago. And then eventually went through the process of ordination in Wat Padanachat. You have to be what they call a pakao, which means white cloth, simply white cloth. And that's the procedure, the kind of system in Wat Padanachat. If somebody wants to ordain, they have to be a pakao for 6 months. So that means they keep 8 precepts and live in the monastery and live quite similar to a monk in many ways and close to the Sangha, close to the monks. They go on alms round every day with the monks and help to carry the food, and they kind of help with things around the monastery, and they also have their time to meditate and learn chanting. And of course they have to join the routine of like the morning and evening meditation and chanting sessions, the pujas. So that's what I've done for 6 months of pakao, and then 1 year as a novice, and then eventually ordained. So the only difference with the pakao and the novice, as far as the precepts, is that the novice doesn't have any money. He takes the Jata Rupa Rajata Patikahana Veratmani Padang, which means he gives up all of his money, and which is a big step actually from pakao to novice, to rely fully on alms round and on basically on other people, and then also already shave the head, also wear the robe, and then also get a new name, like I said, Suthamo, and people start to call you that name in the monastery. And then after 1 year as a novice, if everything goes okay, the community accepts it, and also that person wants to, then he can request to become a bhikkhu, like a fully ordained monk. So that's what I done, went through that whole process. And not easy in many ways, but also there was something kind of some sort of drive or pull, I don't know. Basically, I had my chanda, I suppose you would say, or my faith or my desire to live like that, to meditate and to train myself and to train within that system and that whole environment. So I found it challenging in many ways, but I also found it uplifting and supportive in many ways. And I had my doubts to kind of keep going because of the struggle, and I was quite young. I was 23 when I was a novice. So I did think like, oh, I could leave and do other things and maybe come back when I'm a bit older. But fortunately, I would say wise reflections arose, or I would hear a Dhamma talk or something and remember about the value of what I was doing and I'm still doing, is training and living as a monk, and also about the dissatisfaction with things in the world because it's impermanent. So these two reflections would always keep me wanting to stay in robes and to keep going and to ordain and then to train and to carry on, basically. And since I was a monk, I spent, I would say, the majority of my time in Wat Pananachat, but I also spent one pansa in Wat Nong Papong, and it is a bit different, of course, similar in many ways, but actually it is quite different because the environment with the Thai monks and the Western monks and the system of organizing things is different. And then, of course, the language. I can't really speak Thai. I'm trying to learn, but then I could speak even less. So it's also an experience for especially at least for the Western monks to be in a new environment, a new culture, and to try to learn a language, which I also can take as part of a Dhamma practice, basically to reflect on the feelings and perception that arise while doing that, the kind of suffering or the, I don't know, anxiety of not being able to understand what's going on. And now I just turned 5 pansas, which means after 5 pansas, a monk is allowed to travel on his own. Before that, he's not. He has to depend on a teacher more. He has to live in the monastery, and at Wat Pananachat, it means basically the abbot chooses where you go, and you kind of talk with him, and he decides where to send you. But now, after 5 pansas, I have a bit more freedom in a way, so I got this opportunity to come here to Mae Hong Son, and then unexpectedly this is happening. I have to give a talk and live stream like I've never done before, so it's also a new phase for me. And I got this opportunity to come to Mae Hong Son and see different things in Thailand and see kind of opportunities for monks to live in quiet places. Or actually in Thailand, I feel it's really basically like a paradise for Buddhist monks. I think Phra Suthamo says that, and I feel that kind of many opportunities, and it's really easy to be supported. Monks can live quietly in the forest or a cave or something and just go on alms round. People will almost always give them enough rice at least to survive and to eat. So it's something that I find also inspiring and kind of golden opportunity, really. So that's about me ordaining, but why I came to ordain is a similar story, I think, with many monks, but always the details are a bit different. So it's also something I find a bit kind of thinking back, like surprising, like why that happened really. But basically, I got an interest in meditation and in Buddhism when I was about 17, and I started to look at things on the internet about how to meditate and what is Buddhism, and also other things, kind of interested in religion at that time, religion and spirituality. And so I kind of looked at different things on the internet, like Buddhism and some philosophy and things like that. Tried to read the Christian Bible because I grew up in a Christian country, but I found it very found it confusing in some way, and I didn't feel much kind of inspiration, or even I didn't understand it really. It didn't make much sense. So I tried to read the Bible a bit and looked at philosophy and things, and then I also, especially Buddhism and always especially meditation as well. And this interest grew somehow, like week by week, month by month, and then over the years it became strong in my mind, the feeling like I want to learn to meditate, I want to know more about Buddhism, and also this same reflection about seeing that things, whatever career I could choose, I felt kind of basically pointless in a way, or not fully, but quite a strong feeling like about impermanence, or that whatever I do, kind of, I would have to just make money, and a bit stuck in a circle, stuck in a feeling of like dissatisfaction. At least when I imagined that sort of life, it felt something like a bit hollow or empty, and feeling like I want to hoping that I can find the answer for meditation and for Buddhism to, I suppose, to find a deeper sense of happiness, and also the sense of like questioning life, questioning like, what is life. So all these things together kind of came in my mind. And then what happened, eventually I went to a meditation class, and in that class they told me about a meditation center, which turned out to be the Goenka Vipassana Center. And so that was the first thing I heard of, and it was there in England. I was in Scotland and it was in England, so I could go there quite easily. So I'd done that very quickly. I chose to go there and done like a 10-day meditation retreat, which I also found extremely difficult somehow. But I also went back to that place, and someone else told me about the monasteries in England, about just said there was a Buddhist monastery basically, and I felt like, okay, I want to go basically soon, as quickly as I can. So I'd done that as quickly as I could. I went to Amaravati, which, as you may or may not know, it's the branch monastery from that Luang Por Sumedho established in England, one of the biggest monasteries in England. So I went there, and I had to like ask to stay for 2 weeks, and I think I can't remember exactly the details, but I stayed for something like 2 or 3 weeks, and then went away again, and then came back, and then eventually I stayed there for 4 months during their winter retreat period. So this is a period where the monastery doesn't accept any other visitors, and they have a kind of retreat period. It's very quiet. It's winter time. So that was also a good opportunity I got. I stayed there for 4 months, and while I was there, I kept on hearing about Thailand. There's all the stories about the monks living in Thailand and Luang Por Cha, and I found it kind of sounds inspiring. And then I heard about Wat Pah Nanachat, and heard that, I knew that it would be possible for me to go there and even to ordain there if I want to. And so basically I started to think about doing that, and eventually planned to do that. And then so after the 4 months in Amaravati, I decided, okay, I'll go to Wat Pah Nanachat and see if I can ordain there, and see how it is basically to be in Thailand, and the whole kind of new experience like that. So I think that's covered everything pretty much. I came to ordain, and then went to Amaravati, and then to Wat Pah Nanachat, and then ordained and trained there for the last 5 years as a monk, and years as a novice and back out. And I still feel like a young monk. I am still a young monk. I still have a lot to learn, and don't really feel like used to giving this kind of talks and things, which I see the more senior monks doing this thing. But also it's kind of interesting for me to know about this kind of thing that's going on, and maybe I can share something that other people might benefit from in some way. So I pass it on to the next monk who's not spoken.
Cool, God cup.
Yeah, my name is Metiko. For me, Metiko means the one who has metta, which doesn't fit always. Let's say the most of the time I can't say that I have a lot of metta. But at least it could be a task for me to develop a lot of metta. I have the same vasas like Phra Suthamo. So we were finished now with our 5 years independence, and I'm now here in Mehongson, Chagino's place. Yeah, same story like Tan Chayanto and Tan Suthamo. Also not used to these situations, talking in front of people, especially people that we don't see. To my story, how I became a Buddhist monk. I'm from Austria. There's no Buddhism. Grow up as a formerly Christian, but never really into practicing. My parents also just being formally Christian, but never paid much interest into Christianity. And when I was a kind of teenager, I started then to develop also kind of anti-religious ideas. I was against religion, and yeah, in the West it's quite common to be secular and have no religion. That was quite cool, actually. I was proud to call myself atheist and having nothing to do with religions. But I was always somehow suffering. I had suffering, and I have suffering. So, and I was searching for something out of this suffering, all these discontentments that I had in my life, and problems here and problems there. I looked for it, and I saw that the main part is with me. I have some problem, and I have to solve it to some degree. But I've never had an idea where to look at. Yeah. And as I said, religion was nothing where I can look up to. And there would be another way of kind of esoteric or spiritual seeking. Was also not my part. I was quite skeptical about all these kind of spiritual stuff, esoteric stuff. So also no option. I was thinking about studying psychology, but actually also it didn't happen. So, but at some point, I think it was when I was working. I was working as a technician first, and then I grew more into management, and then you have all these seminars, self-development seminars, and you do some kind of little practices where you get a feeling for yourself. And actually I like that. Yeah, I like these kind of things. Yeah, where you think about your visions and about your life and stuff like that. So I got a little bit interested in all this stuff. And at this period, I started also to read some books, and I came across Buddhist books. And for some reason, yeah, I found it from the beginning quite something quite substantial in it. Yeah, something quite interesting and with some essence in it. Yeah. And I have to say, why I was reading Buddhist books was also because I opened up to religion again, and that was because of my grandmother. Maybe my grandmother used to go to the church, and she liked it to go to the church, but then at some point she couldn't go by herself. And it happened that I sometimes went with her and drove her there to the church, and Sunday evening church, and I was sitting there, and we had a good priest there, and he could make give good talks, and somehow I felt quite, yeah, there is something, yeah. Maybe these religions are not so terrible that I thought before. So it opened up a little bit, and I was going almost every week with her, actually, to the church. And yeah, so it opened up for religion again. That was maybe when I was 22, 23 or so, and reading also Buddhist books then. And Buddhism is there's a quite good reputation in Europe, in the West in general. So I was reading them, and there was something quite essential in, as I said, and reading more, and I was reading just for years, just reading, but never joined a group or started to practice Buddhism or taking precepts, just reading. Then at some point I saw, yeah, that's nothing. You hear always about meditation and stuff. So at some point I searched in the internet on Google for meditation retreats or courses where one can learn meditation. Then I came across Goenka, Vipassana Goenka tradition, and I was quite impressed by them. They don't take money. It's a little bit of, quite extreme actually. I found it quite extreme. 10 hours meditation a day, no silence, and I find it quite good. So I signed in for one of these courses. It was 13 years ago, and yeah, after 10 days, I said it was the most terrible 10 days that I had in my life. I had pain everywhere. You sit 10 hours, you have pain in your knees, my back, everything was hurting, and within 10 days, a concentration of pain. So, and no benefits, I didn't see anything. But then going back home, driving home, I saw then somehow my awareness was more sharp than before. I was aware of more things that I didn't see before. I remember driving on this highway, and then all these signs. Apparently, I was aware of all the signs left and right. There are everywhere these signs, and it was quite stressful because I never paid attention to all these signs. But I noticed there's something different. Yeah, there's a change. Yeah? And then back home as well. Going to work, and then in work you have always I had some people where I had difficulties with and tensions and stuff like that, and so I was also more aware of what's going on in the whole dynamics with people, and I saw all the parts that I contribute on all these difficulties more clearer, yeah. But I didn't do anything different than before. But I was just more aware of things, what's going on around me, and between people, yeah. And that was a kind of convincing point that this meditation that I did, that I found so terrible, that there is something in it, and that must be a good, that's a good result from this meditation. So it was quite convincing for me. And then I was also traveling for 1 year. I quit my job after that, and was traveling and was sitting in more of these retreats, from these Goenka retreats in India and Nepal and Indonesia, and had a lot of time for myself. And yeah, after this year, I changed all my views. Yeah, there was quite a change in my view of things, and view of the world, and view of how one lives one's life, and I'd like to change my life. That was clear. I'd like to change my life more according to meditation, that I can meditate, that I simplify everything and meditate, that I have a lot of time for meditation. And yeah, was also, I quit my job and started something new. Social work. I studied social work then. I'd like to do something meaningful, and so a big change. Yeah. And I had already the idea maybe becoming a monk. That was 12 years ago. Maybe becoming a monk. They do that all day long, meditation, but at this time I found it too extreme, going abroad and being a monk, and yeah, that didn't work. So I tried to live at least a monk-like life, and try to live in the world, a little bit like a monk. Yeah, I kept the precepts. I started to sleep on the floor. I throw out my television. Didn't watch television anymore. I sold my car, and just simply simplify my life, and trying to live a simple and life where I don't have much distractions. But yeah, after a couple of years, then I found, but still one has some distractions, and there's a lot of things that one has around one's ears. You have to go to work. You have family. You have friends. You have all kinds of responsibilities, and that's all distracting. And so I was then ripe for the step. It came then to my mind, maybe becoming a monk could be good. So I was looking again in the internet, and I found Ajahn already before. I found him his teaching quite impressive, and I really liked it, and went into internet and searched for a monastery, Buddhist monastery, and then I found Wat Bananachat. That's one of the first results that you get when you search for an international monastery. And I read everything on the homepage, and then I found it quite good. And then I came 2014 during the Vassa, in the Panza, and checked out the place 2 months. And quite soon it was clear it's actually the thing that I like to do. Yeah, that's what I tried to establish the last year, a kind of lifestyle, and here I have it. Yeah, and but I was not. I didn't say anything to my family. I still was the one university. So I went back home for 2 months and quit everything, and then came back December 2014. 2014 I came back to Nanachat, and did the whole procedure, Pakao, Samanera, and yeah, now I have 5 panza, and yeah. So yeah, that's roughly my story. Quite long. It took me quite long. I'm now 42 years old, and until I was ready, I always find it super inspiring if I see young people like Phra Suthamo, Tanti, who are then quite young. When I remember at this time, no way I couldn't think about ordaining so soon. So yeah, it took me quite long. But now I'm quite happy to be in Rome, and yeah, I can't imagine going back to lay life, and it's the best thing that I did in my life, maybe my best decision. I was trying so many things in my life, and but yeah, this being a monk is one of the best decision, maybe the best decision that I made in my life. Yeah. Okay, I think that's it so far.
So that's briefly, properly, for each of us, story around how we end up in Rome as a monk, as a Buddhist monk in Thailand, and in Upacha tradition also, and especially right now in Ajahn place in Mae Hong Son. So we've been around in Mae Hong Son for already like a month or so, especially 2 vulnerables next to me. They were in a place where Ajahn spent time before, called Tham Lod area, the village called Muang Tham. If some of you have been around Mae Hong Son before with Ajahn, you probably end up visiting that place before. So Phra Metiko was in the cave for already a month, and then Phra Suthamo also was in the cave for some time, and then also in a monastery in the same area that time, in a quiet kuti or hut, quiet dwelling that they can have their kind of personal time and then personal practice according to what they've been experienced for throughout those years, and also it's kind of different feeling from when we were in a big monastery, like a training place like Wat Paranachat. It's in kind of like a training monks, and now we kind of everything's kind of systems and schedule, but living outside like this is kind of providing the more time, extra time that we can have on our own practice and reflecting or investigating some extra things that we could, apart from doing normal or usual chores or duties as a monk. And then it's kind of a good opportunity to have a place like this in Thailand or also in Mae Hong Son in the north of Thailand, for monks who into practice or into bhavana, like some of us did, told about this already. So I'm not quite sure what time exactly we have. It's already 8 o'clock here. Do you have some time, or we should end now?
Actually, we were up to 9 o'clock, but hello. Can Ajahn hear me? Hello.
Yeah, it's 8 o'clock.
Can Ajahn hear me?
It's still on though. I'm not quite sure. Are you guys still there, or
Yeah.
or it's already end?
We are still here. Can Ajahn hear me?
I don't know. Oh, okay. Okay, I can see. All right. Okay, there's some of you still there.
Maybe there's someone not able to speak to me.
Okay. I can't hear. I don't know why, but actually, I think we come to. Oh, okay, sister. Okay. All right.
We were up to 9.
Oh, okay.
9.
Until 9. All right. Okay. Until 9. All right. Okay. Good. Yeah. Thank you. So yeah, we still have some time, and then I don't know why we don't hear, but I was thinking to kind of do the Q&A or questions. Maybe someone can come and help. Maybe Ajahn Chagino will coming, and yep. Yeah, we can't hear. I don't know why.
Try to. I can't read it. It's too.
That's okay. So sorry for a bit of not quite sure because like we said, it's quite new for us to do this kind of thing. So yeah, we some of us been kind of on their own, living in a cave. Some of us have been wandering around some part of Thailand. So we probably share or say things according to this before we have a Q&A.
We will be up to 9 a.m. Singapore time. I think now it's 9 o'clock.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Maybe it's 9 o'clock.
So then we end then by chanting Metta Sutta in English translation together, and then that will be the end of this session.
Okay. So we chant the Metta Sutta. This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties, and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove, wishing in gladness and in safety. May all beings be at peace. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at peace. Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another. Even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths,
outwards and unbounded, free from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness. One should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding, by not holding to fixed views. The pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being free from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. So then we bow to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha together. Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhaṃ Bhagavantaṃ Abhivādemi Svākato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammāṃ Namasāmi Patipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Sangham Namami.
Ajahn can hear us. We will pay respect to Ajahn. Bow. Second bow. Third bow.